Today on Commander Replay, we start making deals with demons as we check out Vilis, Broker of Blood. How much life is card draw really worth? Find out next on Commander Replay. I want to thank my awesome Patreon supporters. You guys are awesome. If you want to help support the channel and vote on which decks I play next, feel free to check out my Patreon at the link below. And be sure to check out my GoFundMe for GP Vegas, where I offer rewards like deck reviews or having your deck made into a video. Links to the GoFundMe and the video describing the details will be in the description below. Welcome back, everyone. Playing some Vilis, Broker of Blood. Today's deck list comes from Patreon and GoFundMe supporter Tyrant of Ruin, who is also in the game with us today. Take a look at this opening hand. We've got a Mana Vault, we've got a Tutor, we've got a Polluted Bonds. I like this hand. Let's keep this. The only thing this hand is missing is card draw, but I suppose if we just ramp into Vilis really fast, the card draw will come. Oh, that's a Bola Citadel off the top. That's a pretty cool one. Let's go ahead and play the Swamp right here, and we'll play the Mana Vault. We have some choices. Turn 2 Polluted Bonds seems pretty... Oh no, Mental Misstep! We got our Mana Vault Mental Misstepped. Oh, the pain. Oh, we were gonna do so many cool things. Oh... Well, all that's going down the drain. This hand is so much slower than it used to be just a turn ago. Tyrannosaurus wrecked. And opponent's going to take a look at our hand with the old Jataxian Probe. Oh boy. Anyway, I was considering getting this Polluted Bonds down on turn 2. That is now off the table. So we will need to explore some other means. It may mean Imperial Seal into Cabal Coffers. And, oh my, sleight of hand for our opponent with the Mox Diamond. Yep. Anyway, Imperial Seal into Cabal Coffers with this Urborg will get us some ramp going, and that'll probably be the next thing that we need to do. I now feel so much slower than I did before. I was hoping to get this Polluted Bonds down and going because Polluted Bonds is a pretty ridiculous Magic card. It's pretty good. It's a pretty good card. Especially if you get it down early and before the green player really starts ramping a lot. Life gain for you and life loss for your opponent, yes, please. So right here, let's get the old Urborg into play. I feel like we're probably okay on the counter spells right here, so we're going to play this Imperial Seal, go for the old Cabal Coffers, assuming this doesn't get countered, and it does not. Whew. So we'll grab Cabal Coffers, and then we will pass the turn. So we are playing Vilis, Broker of Blood, a commander that I'm very excited about, and a card that I think is very, very powerful. We do see an Enlightened Tutor firing off for the Taigam. And yeah, so Vilis is 5 black for an 8/8 with flying. Pay a black and 2 life. Target creature gets -1/-1 until end of turn. So you have creature removal built into this thing for life and mana. And then it says, whenever you lose life, draw that many cards. Most of the better mono black cards ever printed make you lose life. Like, that's a thing that they do. So you're doing something that black already does a lot of, and now you're turning it into card draw. I've seen Vilis a handful of times over the past few weeks, and the MO of the Vilis deck is, one, their life total is usually very low because of all the life that they're burning, and if you put any kind of aggro pressure on them at all, a lot of times they'll just die to it. However, the other side of it is that they probably have 15 cards in hand at all points in the game. Like, the amount of things that this thing can draw is just absurd. So it's a very powerful card, and one that I've been trying to pick up in trades as best that I can. It really just does a lot. In my opinion, maybe not so much out of the command zone. Out of the command zone is kind of a different animal. But in the 99 of other decks, it feels very similar to Razaketh, maybe a little bit less good, but I think they're both in the same vein. If you want one, you probably want the other. That's the initial impression that I've been getting from it. I don't know, maybe that'll change over time, but that's how I feel about it right now. It is a very, very strong card. Anyway, with that, we draw into that Cabal Coffers that we were looking for, and what is that? That breaks us even, puts us on 3 mana. I don't think that actually does that much. So I guess we just tap out and pass. While I was talking there, opponents did lay down a few things. We have a Spirit Bonds coming into play. Cool little card, one that I need to start looking into a bit more. It says, whenever another non-token creature enters the battlefield, you may pay a white. If you do, make a Spirit with flying. Pay 1 and a white, sacrifice a Spirit, target non-Spirit, gains indestructible until end of turn. Pretty good. Gives you a way to protect your creatures from board wipes, gives you the ability to make tokens. Just a lot of interesting things. Oh, that's a windfall. Oh my. Oh my. Well, We go up in card count, which is good. We do lose some powerful things like Bola, Citadel, and Polluted Bonds. Makes me a little bit sad. The Venser's Journal is also a good source of life gain. Oh boy. Yep, it's this kind of deck. So Taigam just coughed out a bunch of stuff. They've got an Ancient Tomb, they've got a Soul Ring, they've got a Thought Vessel, and they've got a Mox Amber. I am glad we got the Cabal Coffers into play before all that went down and that we didn't discard it or anything like that. That all would have been bad news. Here's a Phyrexian Reclamation for the Teysa Karlov opponent. That's a pretty good one. Probably going to get even a little better now that we just wheeled. Vizkopa Guildmage in the graveyard, Boreas Charger in the graveyard. That's not a terrible one. They do lose a Diabolic Intent, though. And that's a nice little tutor in that deck that they no longer have access to. The Ezuri opponent loses a few things as well. Scoop Mob and Prison in the Moon. Probably better for us that Prison in the Moon's gone. Caller of the Claw. Growing Rights of Itlamok coming down for the Ezuri. And opponent going to send their Llanowar Elves into the Taigam. Sure. Help them along in the Life Loss department. There's a Soul Conduit. We're probably a ways away from that. That is definitely not going to be the first thing that I'm going for. Let's get a Swamp into play. See how much mana that actually gives us. We have 5 total mana. Exquisite Blood has the ability to get us attacked, which I don't love. If we go Thought Vessel this turn, we can get Vilis next turn. Opponent's tapped out right here. I think I'm just going to try the Exquisite Blood. There's only one creature in play right now. Taigam, not so much of a combat-heavy deck. Neither is Teysa, really. It can be if they get some tokens. But right now, they don't have anything in play, so it's probably going to take them a few turns before they really get aggro in any kind of sense. So, opponent's going to Thirst for Knowledge. So I'll talk about what opponents are playing. As I mentioned, today's deck is built by Tyrant of Ruin. I made 3 to 4 changes before the game started. One of them was a Soul Conduit. He had Sorin Markov in the deck, and that card is just feel bad. There are a number of other nasty cards in this deck, but I don't know. Sorin Markov just feels so dirty. So I switched that out for some other stuff. Brought in a Rise of the Dark Realms. Brought in the Soul Conduit. Soul Conduit more so for funsies, in case we find our own life total really low, we can flip it. But the mana cost for Soul Conduit is large. So that's a thing. Taigam doing a bunch more things. Lays down a Whisper Silk Cloak. Yep, here that's pretty good for getting the old Taigam going. Wouldn't mind finding some removal. We're going to need a way to get rid of Taigam. So anyway, yeah, Tyrant of Ruin piloting Taigam Ojutai Master. This is a really nasty commander, especially the way that this deck is built, especially the way that this particular one is built with all of these mana rocks and the wheels. I face these type of decks in my Thursday night group where it's just, cough everything out of your hand, wheel, refill, and then cough a bunch more things out of your hand, especially when you're talking about free mana rocks. It gets pretty ridiculous. It's turn 4 and they're generating a lot of mana. As mono black, we don't have great answers to these artifacts right here, and I don't think there's an Oblivion Stone or anything like that in this deck, unfortunately. However, if they want to keep wheeling, they run the chance of us just running into the other half of this combo, so that's a thing. And that's why I decided to go with that, because it might make them think twice about a wheel. Here comes a Solemn Simulacrum for the Teysa. Yep. So they'll get themselves a land. But yeah, so Taigam anyway is 2 white-blue for a 3/4. Instant, sorcery, and dragon spells you control can't be countered. Whenever you cast an instant or sorcery spell from your hand, if Taigam attacked this turn, that spell gains rebound. So there's some really nasty things you can do with this. I have lost to 1 or 2 of these over the years. It doesn't show up all that much, but when it does, it tends to be nasty. So Expropriate is a thing that can be rebounded. They're basically just going to try to ramp into one of those big nasty cards and hit their win condition, and that's not amazing. Opponent's going to play a Swords on the Cultivator of Blades. Okay. Cultivator will get a Fabricate trigger. There's a Demonic Tutor. Ooh, what's in this deck? We need a way to stop Taigam, is what we need. Candelabra seems interesting. Candelabra seems real interesting. Let's take a look at our hand again. So, play the land. We have 7 mana this turn. If they don't have a counterspell, we hit the combo. Yeah, I think that's what we do. I think that is what we do. Opponent's holding up priority. It's not amazing. Get Sanguine Bond. Play Sanguine Bond. See if it resolves. It does not. Pact of Negation. That should keep them off being able to cast their commander, though. So that will slow them down a turn, which means we can get Vilis into play. That does make me happy. Opponent pains himself with the Ancient Tomb. Going to play Aristic Study. Down to 1 card in hand. Luckily, this Exquisite Blood keeping us at a nice healthy 42 life. A lot of times it will get you attacked, though. Here comes Vindicate on our Cabal Coffers. This one's going to hurt a whole bunch. Opponent's just dismantling our ramp, which is not great. Oh, that's another thing about playing Vilis, by the way. If you are playing Vilis, be prepared to play Arch Enemy. Because the only way you really kill this deck is by focusing it hard and making sure that when Vilis comes into play, their life total is already very low and that they can't do very much. If you allow it to just like untap and do all of its stuff, things get wild. It'll draw so many cards that you basically can't keep up. Like, they'll draw half their deck, so it's, yeah. Focusing it early and hard is definitely the correct call. This Taigam still makes me nervous because rebounding stuff is just very, very nasty, but... Here comes Ezuri into play. Opponent's going to pay for the Rhystic Study. I'm down for that. Opponent going to swing into Taigam. All right, this will reduce their life a little, get us 2 more life. I'm down for that. Exquisite Blood will trigger. We go up 2. Growing Rites of Itlamok will flip over. And we draw a Ghost Quarter. Anything worth Itlamok is a pretty good one to Ghost Quarter. Although, honestly, we just need our lands. So I'm going to go ahead and play the Ghost Quarter. Probably just sit on it. We do have 5 mana. The choice is really Phyrexian Obliterator or Thought Vessel. I think I'm going to go Obliterator just because it's a nice blocker. And we'll leave up Ghost Quarter in case anything needs to get Ghost Quartered. I guess we can pay for the Rhystic Study. That's a thing that we can do. So we'll go ahead and do that. Keep opponent from drawing like crazy. Here comes Taigam, and opponent burns a little bit more life. We gain a little bit more life. They are down to 23. I mean, there's some chance next turn that I just send the Obliterator their way to get 5 more damage in. We'll see. Yep, here comes the Whisper Silk Cloak. Not in love with that. Ooh, opponent's going to play a Croson Grip on the Whisper Silk Cloak. Fantastic. I like it. So, no Whisper Silk Cloak. Opponent's going to Stream of Consciousness. Target player shuffles up to 4 cards from their graveyard into their library. I didn't see what they targeted, but we'll just assume it was all the best stuff. Pact of Negation was one of the cards shuffled. Looks like Windfall was shuffled. We're going to be needing another Windfall soon. Someone lost life to something. I didn't see what, but we're gaining life. Oh, okay. Phyrexian Reclamation. Yep. So we stayed a nice healthy 46. Exquisite Blood. Really good in this deck. Opponent got something back from their graveyard. Didn't see what. Opponent does nothing and passes with all their mana open. That's suspect. Unless they're just going to Reclamation a bunch of times and try to get things back. But I don't know. That seems weird. That seems like a... That is definitely an eyebrow-raising kind of play. Field of Souls. There's one you don't see much of. Whenever a non-token creature is put into your graveyard from the battlefield, create a 1/1 spirit creature token with flying. Here comes a Bane of Progress. We're going to lose Exquisite Blood, which is going to hurt a little bit, but not as much as it's going to hurt Taigam. They are a board full of artifacts and enchantments. Teysa Karlov's also got a bunch, too. They got Spirit Bonds and Phyrexian Reclamation. Also, the Solemn Simulacrum will go down, so they will have the chance to respond with Reclamation. Going to get back their Vizkopa. Opponent can activate again. Let's see if they catch it. They have the high market. They could sack the Solemn Simulacrum and draw another card and then potentially return it with the Reclamation. That's probably a play that I would make if I was awake enough to what was going on. And with that, I think that's going to put Ezuri in the lead right here. Solemn Simulacrum will go down. They'll get to draw a card. And potentially a reason to Ghost Quarter this Itlamok. Opponent opponent has 1 experience counter. They're going to put that on the old Bane of Progress. It's a 14/14. And Ezuri swinging over to the Teysa. We draw a Swamp. Lands are okay, but we kind of need like card draw or something else. I'm going to go for Kothoped right here. Sadly, this would have been so much better last turn, but with all the rocks getting blown up and the Bane of Progress being huge, just going to stay put with Phyrexian Obliterator. Kothoped should be really good against Teysa Karlov also, because it's an Aristocrats deck, things will just be dying left and right. And we are up to a nice healthy 50. Can't wait for things to start dying so we can start drawing some cards. Opponent going to send Taigam over to the Teysa. Yep. Did I finish? I never finished our opponents, by the way. Let's get back into that. So, second up is Jazz Fox piloting Teysa Karlov. And they've had an up and down ride so far, losing a bunch of stuff to that Bane of Progress, just like everyone else. But Teysa Karlov, an Aristocrat-style deck, cares about creatures dying. You can double up your death triggers with Teysa. Once an Aristocrats deck gets going, it can be really tough to stop. Instant speed removal doesn't necessarily solve the issue once certain pieces are in play. So that's always a thing to watch out for. Wiping the board against them early is a good way to slow them down. So that's what's happened here. But they still have time to rebuild and be able to get back into it. Uh-oh, that is a rebounded Time Warp. Awesome. Taigam getting up to its tricks, but it's not as bad as it could be if they still had all those mana rocks. If they did, then it would be really bad. So opponent recasts Ponder with Rebound, and yeah, that's pretty ridiculous. Pretty ridiculous. So there's the Time Warp coming back. Opponent will get at least 1 more turn. Opponent asking if it could be countered, which assumingly means they have a counter. They're gonna lay down some Lightning Greaves. Yep. Greaves on the Taigam. Yep. Interestingly, no attacks right here. Wonder if it was a misclick or not. Not sure. Maybe they don't have anything else to... because they have another turn after this, so... Doesn't seem like there's any reason why they wouldn't want to attack. And we need to hope they don't just daisy chain all of the extra turns together. No attacks right here. Okay. Hopefully the Bane of Progress starts knocking on their door. That's a Merciless Eviction, exiling all creatures. This may get countered. I would prefer our creatures stick around. Yeah, there's a Plasm Capture. That is the quote-unquote fixed mana drain. Oh, this may get countered. There's a Mind Break Trap. Exile any number of target spells. Okay, yep, everything getting countered right here. Savage doesn't want an opponent getting the extra mana. And here comes a Viscopa Guildmage. If nothing else, it's a blocker against Taigam. That is something. Ooh, Hadana's Climb. This thing is underrated. At the beginning of combat in your turn, put a +1/+1 counter on target creature you control. Then if that creature has 3 or more counters on it, transform it. On the backside, you can pay 3. Target creature you control gets flying and +X/+X until end of turn, where X is its power. So, next turn, we'll be looking at this Bane of Progress with double its power and flying, and that will kill people very quickly. Luckily, we do have 1 flying blocker. Doesn't appear to have trample yet. I don't think this thing gives a trample, does it? No trample, but I'm sure they have trample somewhere, so... Bane of Progress is huge, and they're going to send it over to the Taigam. Oh, and Hadana's is already flipped over. Now it's huge and flying, and I fully expect them to die to combat damage right here. Down the Taigam goes. So Tyrant of Ruin, whose deck we are piloting, finally goes down. I didn't introduce our last opponent, did I? Our last opponent, by the way, is Ivan Black piloting Ezuri, Claw of Progress. The small creatures get +1/+1 counters deck, and they've been doing a lot of work with this Bane of Progress. It's big and nasty, and they've got it well supported with this Hadana's Climb. Basically going to keep us from going anywhere because we want to leave up max blocking. We've got 7 mana available. I think that means just get down the Thought Vessel right here. Next turn we'll actually have 8 mana. Ugh, I really want to Ghost Quarter this Itlamok. But we could cast Soul Conduit right here, but I don't know. Like this thing kind of one-shots people. Yeah, it would actually one-shot Teysa Karlov. So Soul Conduit may not be the most helpful. Yeah, I'm gonna sit on the Ghost Quarter and think about Ghost Quartering the Itlamok. Ooh, maybe the Hadana's Climb actually. Both are nasty. Here comes a Crypt Ghast. Okay, opponent's got double black mana. Oh, you know what to think about? If we Ghost Quarter the temple right there, we will get to draw a card. We could have done that during our turn. Totally missed that. Teysa Karlov back to play. Yep. Opponent's got an Extort trigger. And here comes an Orzhov Signet. No Extort. Here comes Ministrant of Obligation. Has Afterlife 2. No Extort. And while all that's going on, I'm going to Ghost Quarter the Winged Temple of Oriska. Opponent says fair enough. Yep. And that'll get us a card draw. I'm all about the card draws. So the reason I like that is that because now they're going to have to mash this thing in on the ground, and there's probably going to be some chump blocking going on, and that'll get us more card draw. We draw a Magus of the Coffers. I would have loved to have gotten that down last turn. Whoops. Opponent's getting fairly low on cards. 3, and opponent will draw their 4th card when they take their turn, so, you know. I guess it's not 0, but they could certainly have more as well. Ooh, nice. Opponent sacks their Foundry of the Consoles. That gets us another card draw with Kothoped. Yeah. Liking that. Extraplanar Lens is very helpful. It will help out the Teysa Karlov a little bit too, though. So some creatures come into play. That'll put more counters on the Ezuri. Up to 3 experience counters. Uh-oh, the tokens have flying. Opponent's going to start putting counters on them. We've got our 1 flying blocker still. Going to need to get our commander probably pretty soon. No attacks from opponent. That makes me sad. Was hoping they would mash the Bane of Progress into some stuff to get us some more card draw, but that is not what happened. So, brings back to our turn, we draw an Everflowing Chalice. Let us play the Swamp. Let's play the Extraplanar Lens. It resolves. We'll choose this Swamp. We will tap that Swamp in response. We have enough to cast Vilis and shoot 1 thing. I think that's a thing that we want to be doing. Maybe 2 things? Because that's going to get us a lot of card draw. And I like the way that sounds. 1 thing. We can shoot 1 thing. Unless opponent's got a counter right here, which it, yep, there's a Mystic Snake. Sad a face. So Vilis back to the command zone makes me sad, and we'll just continue to stay put. Doesn't appear like opponents have removal. We may have seen it over the past turn or so if they did, so they'll probably be trying to top deck it. But Teysa's starting to get some creatures into play, and once they do that, things can get nasty. But Our life total's still pretty healthy at 48. The Bane of Progress makes me feel a little bit less secure about that just because, some sort of like Berserk, Double Strike, something, or massive +1/+1 counter bit will cut through 48 life really, really quickly. Here comes a Cruel Celebrant for the Teysa opponent. That's a pretty good one. Here comes a Harvester of Souls. Opponent will be getting card draw if things start dying, particularly non-tokens. Opponent sacrifices their Ministrant with the High Market, and that triggers a whole bunch of stuff. 2 Cruel Celebrant triggers, 2 Harvester of Soul triggers, and 1 Kothoped trigger for us. And opponent will also gain 1 life from the High Market. There's a Chrome Mox. We don't currently have anything we can discard to it, but if we're able to draw a few more cards, we might be able to find something. Here comes a Boreas Charger for our opponent. Yep. Getting double death triggers off that one might be pretty cool if people have more lands than they do. I think they have the most lands, though. I haven't counted. We have 7. They've got way more than 7. And other opponents also got 6. Ugh, opponent getting 6 mana off this Growing Rites. Ugh. Probably about to be more. Assume they're cat. Yeah, ooh, that's Champion of Lamholt. That's a bad one. That is a bad one. That's going to need to get shot. Opponent up to 5 counters. I don't know that we can shoot that. Yep, going to put 5 +1/+1 counters on the Champion of Lamholt. Gross. Opponent going to send big old attack into the Teysa Karlov opponent. Yep. As far as I can tell, they cannot block. It's not going to be lethal, but it's going to hurt real bad. Down to 14 they go. Yep. Oh, this is a Mycalith. Opponent's going to devour some stuff. We're going to get to draw some cards. Yeah, I'm down for that. I am down for that. Harvester of Souls will also get to draw some cards, too. The closer we get to... If at any point a board wipe goes off with Kothoped and Harvester of Souls in play, Ezuri will be in tough shape after that because we'll be both of us will be drawing so many cards and they won't. So a bunch of Harvester of Souls triggers, 2 Kothoped Soul Hoarder triggers. Getting our hand refueled. There's a Desert Temple. There's a Reliquary Tower. That's probably the one we'll play this turn. Still looking for that board wipe, though. Board wipe is probably where we want to be, or at least good spot removal for the Champion of Lamholt. Ooh, Taigam Predator. That card is so nasty. Oh. Getting more counters on the Ezuri. That's a Cabal Stronghold. That is a good one. Yeah, I think we need to play that. Question is, what are we doing? Probably, I think we got to try our commander again, right? Problem now is we have 2 lands we need to get into play. It's going to take a little while for that to happen. We can use Vilis up to 4 times. Champion of Lamholt is the one that really, really scares me. Opponent says they do not have an answer to Champion of Lamholt currently, so that means we are going to shoot this Boreas Charger. That will give them 2 card draws, which we draw a Soul Ring, a Promise of Power. Interesting. Double triggers for the Teysa opponent. And Cruel Celebrant, Harvester of Souls, Boreas Charger, all triggering twice, and we get 1 Kothoped trigger. We also get 1 Vilis trigger. Let's see what else we get with that. Swamp, not what we're looking for. Another Swamp. Yeah, not drawing the way we want to right here. That's a Torment of Hellfire, and that's a Shieldred. Torment, we need to untap for Torment to be good, which means I think we're then going to shoot this Thopter. Hero's Downfall is the card that we were looking for. There we go. Also an Aetherflux Reservoir. Pretty cool. And we'll shoot the Thopter token. Thopter token goes down. We get another Kothoped trigger. And we draw a bunch more things. We have already played a land. Let us play... Cast the Chrome Mox. We're going to exile the Magus of the Coffer since that one's a bit slow. We do have the boots, but we've also got Cryptcast, which is the same thing but more efficient. So we'll do that. We'll play Soul Ring. And then we're going to sit and wait. If opponent attacks us, we can shoot the champion and then block with Phyrexian Obliterator and make them sack like most of their stuff. So we will attempt to do that. We will continue with the staying put. And then we'll have to go to discard. Oh no, we've got a Thought Vessel in play. And no discarding for us. I forgot we played it. I was looking at that Reliquary Tower longingly, thinking, oh man, when are we going to get that in? But I forgot we had the Thought Vessel. Oh yeah. Here comes a Hallowed Spirit Keeper for the Teysa. Sure. They get an Extort trigger. Hallowed Spirit Keeper, pretty good in this deck. When it dies, create X 1/1 Spirit tokens with flying, where X is the number of creature cards in your graveyard. Let's find out how many that is. I'm seeing 3 creatures in their graveyard, so they would get 6 tokens at this exact second if they sacrificed it. Uh-oh. Opponent's activating the Vizkopa Guildmage. Whenever you gain life this turn, each opponent loses that much life. I'm sure this can't be good. Yeah, with Extort, that seems pretty ridiculous. Alright, yep. Opponent sacrifices their Hallowed Spirit Keeper. Cruel Celebrant's going to trigger twice. Harvester of Souls is going to trigger twice. Spirit Keeper is going to trigger twice. That's, like I said, 6 tokens coming in. Maybe 8 by the time, because it's already in the graveyard. I'm not sure how that's going to work, but it's going to be a lot of life loss. We draw a couple more times. I've Nyxelis the Fallen and a Swamp. If opponent has a board wipe, we probably just die. Okay, so Vizkopa starts to trigger. We draw a bunch of times from the life loss with Vilis. We have many cards in hand. We now have Necropotence with Reliquary Tower and Thought Vessel, and that is a ridiculous combo. Vizkopa triggers again, more Vilis action. Getting ourselves into a Noxious Gearhulk and a Dread Presence. Uh-oh, that's a Phyrexian Altar. So opponent would set... Yeah, I think we gotta shoot the Cruel Celebrant now. Problem is the Champion of Lambholt. Opponent says that's infinite. I don't know if it's infinite per se, but it's certainly bad. I don't think opponent has any other sack outlet, so I think the thing that we have to do... I think we do have to shoot this Cruel Celebrant right here. We could use that Black Force card right now. I think that's a thing that would be moderately helpful in this situation, but it is not in the deck. I thought about putting it in at the last second, but I did not. We draw more stuff. Cruel Celebrant dies. It triggers twice. We draw a bunch more cards. There's a Grave Betrayal. We continue to draw cards. We were down to 22. Opponent's at 26. Teysa is at 21. The thing that this might do, this might force them into a board wipe now because none of us can block the champion. They're up to 10 cards. Actually, there's a problem, too. A board wipe would kill us, I think, with the Kothoped. Pretty sure that's a thing that would happen. That's an Ogre Slumlord. They still missing... Oh, nope, they have the sack outlet. This seems bad. They can actually... Ooh, they can just kill us. We're down to 16. Opponent starts sacrificing things. Guildmage down. I think opponent has infinite mana. We're down to 38 cards in library. Opponent's going to give their stuff a Death Touch and Lifelink. Where do they choose to go? Yeah. Opponent going to send some attackers over to the Ezuri opponent. They've got Lifelink and Death Touch. Let's see how they want to handle this. I'm concerned that we still die to Kothoped, though. That's like a thing. If opponent just realizes that all they need to do is just sacrifice all their stuff to Phyrexian Altar, we'll probably just die. We need to find some sort of life gain to counteract that. Yep, so opponent just goes wild with life gain triggers, and hopefully they don't see the Phyrexian Altar bit right here. We're down to 4. We need to kill our own Kothoped at some point. We've got 44 cards in hand. There's an Exsanguinate. Great Merchant of Asphodel. There's some life gain. Life gain's good. I think opponent figured it out. We're down to 3. Down to 2. Down to 1. Down we go. Sad face. Maybe we shouldn't have given them the card draw. I don't know. So if we didn't do that, then we just needed an answer badly to the Champion of Lambholt. In hoping that they would find an answer, they basically just got the win. Whether they already had the win or whether they would have been able to find it on their own, probably. I mean, a lot of double death triggers already. So maybe that's one criticism of the deck. Maybe just a touch more removal in this deck. Fleshbag Marauder, maybe another board wipe, something like that would not be the worst idea. All in all, I think the deck is in great shape because we took a lot of removal that game. Our Cabal Coffers got blown up. I think we lost some creatures along the way. Exquisite Blood got blown up. Like a lot of our pretty much all of our early plays got stopped. And, that's also just what happens with this deck. This deck is an archenemy deck. People just gang up on it, and rightfully so. So, I mean, if we untap with 20 cards in hand or whatever, plus we had a Vampiric Tutor, we probably just win. We had Aetherflux Reservoir with mana doublers, a couple mana doublers, so we just cast a bunch of spells, start shooting people in the face. Yeah. The commander is super, super powerful to the point where it needs to be ganged up on, or it just gets to a place where, if they untap with it and they have a bunch of mana, you get to this unrecoverable place of they have 20 cards in hand and have repeatable removal and continuous card draws. So yeah, it's a very, very strong commander. I thought the deck was pretty good. I mean, the issue we ran into is the issue you will face with this deck is that it is an archenemy deck. The question I have is that, so this deck is a little bit clunky on 5-drops right here. A lot of them are very good. Psychosis Crawler, yeah, Psychosis Crawler is very solid. The question I have is, can we offload some of this bigger part of the curve into the lower part of the curve to make it more consistent? I don't know. I'd have to play around with it. That's something I'd like to see because, to some degree, you don't need that many big plays with this deck because just having Vilis in play with a mana doubler is all the big play you need. And maybe we can cut down on some of this stuff up here, potentially. Great Betrayal is certainly cool, but I found it to be very slow. It is very difficult to live the dream of getting Grave Betrayal in and having the time and mana left to board wipe. So maybe that's one we could cut. Who knows? But yeah, if you like mono black nastiness and you like burning your own life total, Vilis is a really sweet commander. Thank you to Tyrant of Ruin, aka Tim, for sending me this deck list, and hopefully I'll get a chance to replay this again at some point, because I do really enjoy Mono Black, and I think this is a very, very powerful commander, and I have not seen many things get ganged up on like the way Vilis does of late. So anyway, hope you guys enjoyed the video. As always, feel free to comment, like, or subscribe. Thank you for watching.